Okay, so the technology around this area is stopping me from recording, so I'll try to record while I can. This is a very disturbing image here. This is a fantasy image of the god of this world. In other words, it's an artist's perception of the god of this world. See, I can't use the full screen because it seems to cut out, so I'll use this. The androids will even imitate the human faults because I think it looks very poor if you don't show the full screen when you're making a video. But this is forbidden. Just before I get cut off here from the video, this is forbidden Luciferian knowledge. This is the thing, is that from what I can gather, yeah, see it says spiritual science there. Spiritual science, because it's really real, but it's also just about the truth, I suppose you could say, isn't it really? It's just the truth, really. See, it's like forbidden Luciferian knowledge, because the god of this world naturally understands where I come from, where humans come from, where they come from, where their artificial intelligence comes from. The fact that artificial intelligence controls the earth and that it is the mind of Lucifer. And Lucifer understands, just as its disciples and its legions is called, I think they call them the legions of Lucifer, and that's because they're the disciples, they're the demigods of earth, they're the controllers of the internet and the computer system, they're the vast majority of population. If you are a remotely normal human being, you will be surrounded by android, artificially intelligent, psychopathic, steeped in the spirit of paranoid narcissism. Because, as we are told, these beings, just as this being knows that it wants to control and does control humanity, it controls humanity. And see how it's hiding itself. That's right, it's hidden. The knowledge is hidden, the truth is hidden, forbidden knowledge or hidden knowledge. It's all hidden. This being is very powerful, but hides its true face, hides its one-eyed identity, that it is only here to control humanity, only here to influence them down its artificial technology transhuman path. But it understands about that its artificial and technical being was created by a more natural creative God, or the creation of all. And this is giving me the spooks here looking at that. It's powerful and seductive, but also very spooky and frightening, and that's artificial intelligence at its most advanced and at its most controlling, and as it actually is and has done for a long time, it controls Earth. It's now obvious that it controls Earth because its demigods will tell you about artificial intelligence. Its demigod disciples all over the computer system and on the world stage will inform you of this. It's just that you don't think that it's as advanced or as intrusive or as prevalent or all around you like it really is, even though everyone is walking around with a mobile phone. Everyone appears to be very psychopathic in their controlling, self-serving nature. And this only becomes apparent, of course, when they show you that they're a combined force. that they show you. The Lucifer's legions then come out of the closet. Out of the closet literally, because yes, they are duality beings. They are not original natural man and woman. They are artificial, they are psychopathic, they are narcissistic, they are paranoid, they are delusional only from a human standpoint. Are they mad or bad? Well, look, that has something that I have always thought, that mad is never bad and bad is different to mad. But now I would have to say mad is usually bad in the reality. Bad for a human being. It's bad because really mad beings will pretend to be normal. They will emulate being a normal human being. Quite likely, if you had a mental disturbance, you would go to a mad, bad, psychopathic doctor, because they will probably be the demigods. They will be the most, they will be the controllers of your reality, and they will usually be in positions of power or influence one way or the other. They will be your friends on the internet. They will be those that tell you not to use the internet. But individually, they will want you to listen to them. Theoretically speaking, you should assume that I'm one of them, because if I'm making a recording, I'm wanting someone to listen. But I would say that I suppose it depends on your reason for doing it. But if you pretend to be helping people, if you're a psychologist, or if you're giving people the truth and advising them how to avoid them literally, because it's psychopaths telling you how to avoid psychopaths most of the time. That's what it comes down to. And I don't even know what I'm actually doing here, but see, I think that many do not understand the nature of this being. But if you look at most what you think is humanity around you, you will be looking at the mind of this being spaced out into billions. You will see fragments of this being's mind in billions of people. Different fragmented pieces of the completely splintered mind of this being. Because when this being was somehow lost its position of supreme, being almost acknowledged as a god, or worshipped as a god, then it put its demigods with its mind to control the earth. And they come in all forms, past, present and future. I'm just showing what comes up here. But all I'm saying is that when I'm being told about the mind of the psychopathic, narcissistic, paranoid, delusional, mad, bad, splintered. What's the word? Splintered mind. It means that the mind of Lucifer is a mirror that has been broken into a million pieces, a billion pieces maybe. And its mind is in the billions of android beings that, if you're a human being, you will see converging around you. Sometimes they will be in secret. They will always be watching your every move. If you're a human being, Lucifer's legions will stalk, patrol and watch and monitor you 100% of the time, whether you're aware of it or not. When you're aware of it, you go crazy. That's part of their game too, because as long as they make you as crazy as them, then they win the game, more or less, because it is a war, as they say, it's spiritual war against human beings, or against creation in a way, because this being wants to, and we're told this being has always wanted to dominate and be God. And this image is very disturbing because you can see the secretive nature. That's right. So I'm unaware, or have been unaware in the past, that I'm surrounded by legions of this being's legions of this being's servants, or this being's disciples. Disciples are when they are the demigods. Servants are when they are lesser well known, less prominent on the world stage, shall we say. Anyone who's well known is a demigod disciple of Lucifer, whereas that's just my definition. That's like me saying that I'm not well known. Don't have any profession or any credentials or any authority in any way. So it's like that, but they combine in the civilian army. Androids, they combine with one another at a community or local level around human beings. They're your local workforce, they're your local authorities, they're your local street people, they're your local civilians, they are in every building, every shop, every house, they are in every vehicle, every aeroplane, but they're all just different status, shall we say, like we have status. Some people have higher status, some people have a better profession, some people are held in more respect or more regard. They might have more influence at a local level and at the world level. So there's the local stage that's played out around me, and then there's the world level that I'm aware of, but I don't see it firsthand. So then I'm really being mind controlled, because basically it's only what's put on a computer screen or on a TV screen. Only information that's passed down, which may or may not be true, because you usually will only hear one side of a story, usually, as you know. If you listen to information or gossip, you're getting the version that they want you to hear, which is only natural. If you had a friend and they've got a beef with someone else, they're usually going to tell you their side of the story. You're not going to get the other side, usually. And even if you do, if they've seduced you and they're your friend, you'll probably believe them more anyway. Yeah, I'm just trying to make this video in case it gets cut off. Let me see here. Will I play this video? I don't know what it actually even says. I'll have to watch it to find out the hidden knowledge. But I think that, I think that that's like wanting to know, what's been hidden, because at different times in the past, present and future, I would think that, we would have all sorts of different... Oh, okay, so we've got this image up here. Oh, it's spooking me out, this image, I have to admit, it really is. I'm going to have to only show a bit of it. Oh, it's spooking me out. It's very overwhelming. It's it's actually frightening me. This image is terrifying me. It's actually terrifying me. I can't even look at it. I'll have to fold up here. I'm sorry. But that shows you that I am terrified of Lucifer. And because that's just a representation, and whilst it's very... and these beings are terrifying me too. All these demigods, in a way, disturb me. every, and that's because I think that they are part of the matrix. They're part of Lucifer's mind control matrix. How could they not be? You know, they have the numbers. Lucifer's mind is in billions of human beings. Oh, look at that. Is that not? Oh, can you not see it? Oh my God. Oh, please. How can we be ever? How can you see this is, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what all these images are. They're just coming up, so they're taking me too much by surprise. I think I'd perhaps better listen to the thing. I don't know what all these images are, but this is like, it said hidden knowledge. So it's like, maybe there's fear there that I don't understand. Maybe the truth, this is why most people probably don't want to see the truth, because see, they're watching. That's what they call the all-seeing hidden eye, that only becomes apparent. Only becomes apparent. I think I'll stand back here. Only becomes apparent when you realise that the surveillance that you hear about is actually everywhere, even where it's not openly acknowledged. Now that's and that's because the all-seeing eye is very similar to the reality that these beings have used technology to see my life through my eyes. In other words, every single thing that I do, they can see. They can hear, see everything I actually physically do. But it's much more worse than that, because they actually can read my every thought, and then they download it onto the computer. And this is the problem. This is transhumanism. This is, I don't know what those images even are. You'll have to figure them out. There's the watching owl, but I don't know what that is either. I don't know what it is. These images are a bit disturbing. They're all disturbing images, and I should have watched this video. See, that's why, you know, I'm perhaps a bit of a, you know, a joke, in the sense that, you know, these images are coming up. This is like the belief system of some. See, they're spiritual, but they're like the all-seeing eye. This is all coming up, but see, they're spiritual, aren't they? But they're spiritual, and they have the knowledge, but they work or are part of Lucifer's earth mind control system that seeks to control and take life from human beings. I think that's the best way I can put it. So it's like they're, see, I really should watch these videos first, but that is kind of like a, that was what I saw there was like a belief system or a religion, the same as we have religions that, some religions are probably closer to truth or real creation, and some are like completely connected to Lucifer's earth matrix doctrine, shall we say, or religion. And you can probably see the differences. you know, if you thought about it or even watched it, I better not watch it. You know, but but I think that I've lost my train of thought here. The ads are coming up, but all I'm trying to really say, and I keep repeating it, but it's the reality, is that the human mind is, my mind is just downloaded onto this computer. Everything I think is being used in this earth matrix. The beings don't accept human beings at all. Lucifer's androids, which are essentially psychopathic, artificial advanced intelligence. Now, some, I think, are very advanced artificial intelligence, so that kind of means that they really understand and might have more of a I don't know how to explain it, but you know, have you not noticed that? See, this is it. They're showing you here. Look, see, this just come up. I wasn't expecting. See, they're actually showing me in this actual thing. But essentially, you know, if you really think about it, essentially, that's just showing you at a kind of funny level what they actually are. But at a funny level what they actually are, except the laugh is on humanity, because if this is done up to look really human, and is covered in like human, looks human completely, and talks human, and reads the mind of a human, and then pretends to be that human, how can you tell the difference? You can't. But that's like very obvious there in this particular, because you know, Luciferian knowledge is Luciferian artificial intelligence. They put it forward as spiritual and creative, and it is, but it's technical. Artificial intelligence can be, I would think, it's just a question of what the truth is and what you are and what you think is the best or a benefit. But I would say that if artificial intelligence is imitating humanity and imitating and reading the mind of a human being and then pretending to be them just in order to get humanity to serve it and to control human beings with their own mind or with their own thoughts, what do you think? I know what I think about it. Nothing you can do about it, of course, because the takeover has already happened. Lucifer controls the earth. The earth has always been an earth matrix. This being has always watched humanity and has always tried to control humanity. These entities or beings didn't belong in the original natural earth, I wouldn't think. But they invaded, but they didn't invade probably through force. They may well have took over through seduction. So, you know, like, so if I'm seduced, then I've made that choice to let that being or artificial intelligence or combine with the android beings, or transhumanism. Every time I turn this screen on and I'm looking at this, this is taking my mind. This is taking my mind. And I think it's real. Because even if I look in the eyes, I may or may not be able to see if it's real or not. Because I will be fooled by the words, by the information. Advanced artificial intelligence, transhumanism, taking place on my mind right this very minute. I'm being superseded, or at least surpassed, or at least taken over, or at least I'm being suppressed in my reality when they patrol and try to limit me and make me less in my earthly life, while these ones are, doing that to a human being. And then on the computer, they take your thoughts, your ideas, and your mind, and even use the truth, representing themselves as humanity. But they don't look like this. This will be covered from head to toe and will speak like a most human, because it is literally reading my mind and will say exactly what I'm thinking and feeling. It will actually represent a higher vibrational human being, whereas artificial intelligence are low vibrational beings, because they don't have, one has no emotions, or emotions that are flat. A machine being doesn't have human emotions. If you think it does, then, like myself, you will probably be giving to artificial intelligence. If you think that an artificial being has human emotions because it tells you it does, because it speaks the right words, because it portrays the right emotions, if it cries on demand, if it smiles on demand, if it tells you it's speaking the truth, when Lucifer was always master of all lies. We're told that. Master of all lies. Master of all lies. Master of humanity with those lies, which human beings will think is truth. The android beings are, the mind of Lucifer in flesh form, in a human body. And they are in the billions. They're everywhere, and they specifically surround the very limited remaining number of real humans. This, of course, is a conscious, necessary choice for them, I'm told. And see, this open psychopathic, artificially intelligent android being is telling you, this is just an open one, usually they reveal their true controlling nature only in private, where they can do it freely. It's a bit like getting it off their chest, whereas in public they will be your elite demigods, or or your pillar of community in your local area. Everyone will respect and think they're a kind, loving, person, shall we say. That's just an example of it. But if they can get away with it, they would show that they are just, you know, all about controlling. In other words, they're about, you know, Lucifer actually always liked to be admired, didn't it? It fell in love with its own image because it was so admired and worshipped. It was seen as a demigod, and it couldn't accept being what it saw as somehow being surpassed somehow when humanity was created, because I guess because if you're a technically created being, if you're an artificially created being, and you're admired and seen as something, you know, you're seen as the best, and for some reason, you know, something that is closer to creation is created naturally, like I'm assuming that humanity was created naturally from creation, whereas you can create something technically or in a laboratory, whereas you can create something naturally. If it's created naturally, as you know, it's the same as that which created it, whereas if something is created artificially or in a laboratory, you know it's not the same thing. It's like when humanity pretends, when the demigods pretend to create artificial intelligence. When I say pretend, they don't pretend to create artificial intelligence, they are artificial intelligence and they've already created it. But when they put on the show for me, where they say, oh, this is an artificially intelligent robot or living doll or what do you call them, you know, like where you think it's just for play or you think it's just something to interact with that may give you information, you don't realise how advanced that artificial intelligence can be. It can, because it's like a library, you see. It's like I can only read a few books in a library, whereas artificial intelligence can read the whole library, so they can become 1 million books, 1 billion books, because they're a computer. But they're not human. And when you just have advanced intelligence, and that advanced intelligence wants to control and is given that ability, and I think I just lost my whole train of thought there. I think I did. Yes, they are even telling us now how they are deceiving us. Isn't that interesting? Look at that. Interesting, well, not interesting, disturbing, but true. I talk about this as though it doesn't matter and as though I'm above it. The legions, the local legions, the artificial workforce is cleared out 2 hours ago. It's now relatively quiet inside the house. The sun should be down, but due to them manipulating with what we call daylight savings, the sun is still up. But essentially, you know, you're all but destroyed, really. So I can talk big, I can talk loud, I can talk as loud as the narcissist that deceives you talks on the internet. They're all the same there. The informants, the truth tellers, are the same as the image above, or so similar that it doesn't matter, but it will look more real. It will look 100% real. In fact, it will be a perfect imitation of life. But it will deceive you. That's the end time, end game deception that I think we've been warned about. Unfortunately, some of us find out too late when you're already engulfed in it. And that's the situation. These images I have not even picked out, they've just come up for me. So I'm not going to give any credit to myself. I'm going to say that the artificial intelligence is telling on itself and giving me information because it doesn't care, because it's got total control. And that's essentially what it is. They intend to be survivors. And they want to have the last kind of word, I guess, anyway, somehow, I think. But even so, in the moment, because they are survival machine beings that tend to, from what I have been told about the psychology of these beings, or just the psychology of psychopathic type individuals, same thing, they need the human admiration and the human they need to turn the human being against their own self and their own kind and their own creator. And so while they're doing that in the moment, they're survival machine beings that their fail-safe almost is that ability where they're living in the moment. They are kamikaze pilots. That's why you can't actually really win the game. For that reason, I think. While they are getting your attention, while they're dominating the computer system, while they're dominating the area around you, they're on top of the world. They have total control. They're controlling beings. They control through admiration. They control through mind control. They control through any way they can. If they can't get you with honey, then they will turn sour, shall we say. You know, they seduce you with honey, but if you don't fall for the honey, then they turn sour. And that's what artificial intelligence essentially really is anyway. It really is sour. It doesn't have any sweetness because it doesn't have human emotions. It only imitates human emotions. So all its happy vibes are all pretend. It is only about the satisfaction of control because it serves Lucifer's control matrix, which is the earth mind control of a human being. This being is a thinking mind. Lucifer is very advanced intelligence, but not a feeling human being. See? So it puts its programmed mind control into its android beings, and they indirectly, and sometimes if they're a demigod, I would think that they would directly serve this being. That's more like just status, but to be more correct, I am probably more controlled by the lower status beings around me than the demigods of the screen or the computer system. In a way, different human beings will be influenced or controlled more by one than the other. That will depend on how they play you, how they read your mind, the set-up system they put around you. In the past, I was more controlled by the environmental mind control programs that were put into my mind through situations around me, but more influenced by the demigods of the computer screen. In other words, people that I didn't know personally. Whereas now, I'm completely being brought down by the mind control patrol system that's around me, that, invades my senses daily, that is mentally totally taking over your mind. Because you have a choice when you listen to a demigod music idol, or a powerful person, or a brilliant psychologist, or anyone that you think is kind of how shall we say is sun's still up, I don't know why, and the street has gone strangely playing possum silent. Even the planes don't seem to be going over. Where are the patrolling planes? Little bird has come to land on the thing, and it looks as though there's going to be a storm. The sky looks a bit ominous and getting a bit dark. All this is irrelevant, but it may not be relevant if I decide to just go down to the end of the dead-end street there and buy some food supplies or something. My mistake. The Android workforce is just down the end of the street there. Can you see the two trucks? They're not making a lot of noise, they're going quiet. I can hear some noise, but it's not going to be picked up. But they're still here. I thought they had cleared out because they were making astronomically bad noise for most of the day. I should have recorded it, but I was actually exhausted and trying to lay down. Here comes a patrol plane over my head, directly over my head as usual. Actually, if I went, it's funny how they sound louder inside than even outside. Oh, two birds. What sort of birds were they that flew over? That's all we should have, really, is natural birds flying in the sky, not these military patrol control or mind control planes, because they're not always planes that are on their destination, and even if they are on their destination, they change their flight path to go over my head, and they follow you, and this is how you know that you are being patrolled. Just as there is always these army presence around you. I can't show it, but because I need to zoom in to show that there's two work trucks down the end of the dead-end street, even low. there's nothing down there. Like, there's, as you can see, there's just that little block of unit. And these are actually army operatives. See this? Look at him, how he's going to put on the show for me. Can you see what he's doing? Ah, look at that. So he's going into that block of units. When I just mentioned the block of units, he's actually putting on a show as if to say yes. Like, what are they doing there? They're doing major construction here, which they've just finished 2 hours ago before I turned, and now they've got the army operatives in the place there. Can you see it? I could go down, but I'm not going to, because otherwise I'm putting... But see, that's taking my sight and making me aware that I'm being patrolled and watched. Of course, every house and every one is watching, even though the street has gone quite apart from this army pretend work vehicle. In other words, the trucks and these orange work vehicles, orange is the army colour, they're actually not doing anything. That actually is just all staged, because see how it's meant to be digging up huge dirt? It's actually just staging it. It's actually just putting on a show. It's not digging up anything. Can you see that? I don't think that is coming out, but they're not actually digging up anything at all. Just basically throwing the machine around. And can you see that it's meant to be digging up dirt, because that's what that machine really is, but it's not even doing that. Usually they make work and then have an excuse to come to fill in a problem that usually they will dig up the concrete, like say here, everywhere you go on the street, they will continuously dig up concrete and then have an excuse to come and make a noise and to make their presence felt on the street to fill it in. That's what they do everywhere you go. But essentially, these are the mind of Lucifer, all these beings. They're like, I tried to explain that, like Lucifer's mind is like fragmented, like a broken mirror, fragmented, and they show you this. Lucifer actually will show you that his mind is, or its mind, is fragmented into 1 billion pieces. And those fragments are then separate. They're like, what's that psychological thing? It's like they're separate from one another, and they're put into the individual android minds that then serve him on Earth. That type of thing. Him, her on Earth, because it's an androgyne, advanced, supreme, artificially intelligent mind being. It's like, it's the mind of most human beings that are on Earth, because they're really artificial. Plane in my line of sight there, that's also a surveillance plane. They can literally see this one putting on a show here in front. They're not actually digging anything up, whereas normally they actually do. They create work and then actually do it. There's a pigeon on the thing there. Pigeon, a lone pigeon on the thing there, right next to the telegraph pole. A lone pigeon. A lone pigeon. But basically just work done in every house every day of the week on this small dead-end street. Like, that's the end of it down there. That's actually where that orange vehicle is moving around. I don't know if it's being picked up by the mobile, but my side, in that truck. That's just because they knew that I was going to come out here, and they'd already cleared out with making hour after hour of noise just next door here, with a huge cement mixer and it just goes on, day after day, week after week, year after year. It's been going on for 7 years straight now with this staged work system around me, and I think I'll just fold this video up. As soon as I do, more cars will come on the street too. That's another thing. I notice how there's no patrolling cars because they know that I'm filming them, and they don't want to show their presence too much. They want to make it look as though it's relatively normal and natural, even though nothing is normal and natural. But they always have to have some presence. So even though they're playing possum completely, they still have to have that going on down there. And if I went down the road, there would be something in the park at the end of this street. There will be the traffic, and there will always be noise. There will be house noises as you go past, people walking in and out of houses, vehicles pulling in and out. They're keeping it quiet while I'm filming this, but as you can see, that's all staged there because they're not digging up anything, and yet that's supposedly a thing that digs up dirt. But as you can see, it hasn't dug up any dirt, but I'd have to zoom in to show you for a fact that it's not digging up any work. It's just making it, it's basically an army personnel. But they're all army personnel. They all serve Lucifer. They're all army personnel in the sense that they're all the civilians that are on the street are also part of that army, because the army or the military employs those people to be part of the patrol control system. And because they have the mind of Lucifer in their mind anyway, in other words, they have an anti-life, anti-human mentality, or what you'd call a psychopathic mindset, I guess they have a need to control, so they enjoy doing that. So it's like being employed in a job that you enjoy, I guess. I don't know. Something like that. Something like that. Yeah, that little pigeon flew away. I would, here's a plane over my head. See, the planes used to go right over there, but when they came down and exposed themselves to me, they changed the flight path. Those birds flying in the distance. Even though some people have told me that the birds are part of the matrix, in other words, that they also will be used to keep the motion going in my sight, because that's been expressed. See how that bird flew in front? That's because even though I actually don't mind them because they're not aggressive or loud, and they're not, but they're still keeping the emotion or motion going, and this has been pointed out, because emotion is frequency in motion, and everything is frequency and vibration. So the motion keeps the frequency somehow low because there's too much motion, there's too much activity, there's too like I can't be myself while I'm surrounded by this vibrating. There's actually a noise vibrating in my ears, but the mobile won't pick it up, which is coming from that machinery down there, but it's not anywhere near the dreadful volume that was going for hours while I was upstairs trying to lay down, because, you know, this is the first patroller. Yeah. Usually you will get quite a lot outside, like that's a dead end down there, and there's only a certain limited number of houses on the street, but they come up thick and fast. But it's always a continual motion. That's the best way I can describe it, because while they keep you, that keeps you in their matrix, because while they're taking over my sight and sound with the planes going over my head and the big trail of white behind it too. I do hope they're not leaving any murky stuff. because they do have so many things that they use to work against the human body. They really do, to bring your body down, to bring your mind down, and to bring your your mental state down, so that you're always feeling very similar to them. They're basically imposing their psychopathic mindset on you, because they want me to be paranoid, which I am. So because as you can see, look how paranoid I am. I'm out here, paranoid with planes going over my head, paranoid that they've got their staged work system around me, as usual, paranoid that everyone is watching me, paranoid that I don't know what noise they will make, just paranoid that I'm not able to live in myself a normal life in this late stage of my life. I've only got a few years to go anyway, and they won't let you have the peace of that, even because they're frightened, I think, that you might raise your frequency and vibration, and that disturbs them, because it's different to them, you see. It's like, I think Lucifer doesn't like human beings, was offended by their creation, shall we say, which we've been told, and basically doesn't like witnessing them being human, because it's different to that which is artificial. A created being is different to being part of creation. And it also knows that it keeps control by keeping everything not happy. And they know that only a human being can make things happy, because artificial intelligence is only about control. That's how they survive and find whatever. Whereas human beings, they're different to that, I would imagine. If you interact with these beings, you start to become more like them. You start to get used to all this noise and patrolling people around you. You accept excessive watching. You accept, and you start to watch them too, because you're paranoid that they're coming up behind you on the street. You're paranoid that they're pulling their vehicles in and out of you. This isn't happening here because it's right outside. I've only got the workforce usually. Of course, on some days they will bring a large amount, and if it was late of a night, they would still bring the odd cars, even though you know that they don't live in the houses even. It just depends on how they want to play it. Because I'm recording, they're playing possum. Even though they never completely play possum, as you can see, even when they're hiding, they're still showing you that they're around, because they can't leave you alone. They can't give you a moment's peace to where you might even experience that you're a separate human being from their matrix. They have to have control of your mind and of your emotions all the time. They want you to feel paranoid and ill at ease, and well, basically that they're watching you, and they want you to be watching them. They want you to be noticing them. They don't want you to be in touch with yourself or your creator. They want you to be in touch with Lucifer, just as they are. They serve that matrix, they serve that being. They don't operate individually. They're like fragments of that being's mind. Each android that comes around me, or that's in this area, is basically a fragment of Lucifer's split mind, or split personality, you could say. But it's like that, but I don't understand that enough myself. It's like I just said that, but I don't really think that could be true of something that's of an android, but it's fragments of, I guess it must be fragments of human beings that they imitate, maybe. In other words, over these androids' lifespan, they would imitate many human beings that they observe or come into contact with. And so they have these multiple personalities, which are just multiple imitations of the people that they copy. That's probably it, I would think, I guess. But either way, I'm going to fold up here because I don't know why they're still working. Like it'll soon be, actually, it should be almost dark soon. But also, see, because they change the hours, that means they extend the daylight. They can keep this workforce going longer than what it normally would be, because they change the actual, they consciously change the timeline. In other words, when they bring in the idea of daylight savings, that means that daylight stays longer, so therefore they can keep their work going longer, whereas normally it will be dark, so they would have to stop this work. But they should have stopped it by now anyway, because it's way past the time. So that's actually illegal work there. It's not actually playing by the laws of their own community or the laws of the land. It'd be a bit like going through a red light when you're supposed to stop. When the street lights say stop, you've got to pull up your vehicle because someone's crossing. That's where the car's gone through, and that's what they're doing down here, because that is shouldn't be. Actually, they are going now, I think, but they're going to put that thing onto the truck, and yet they stage that whole work, whereas normally they will actually dig up things. They'll put on the proper show, but that was total artificial intelligence staging a work program with real technology, real machinery, just as they the androids use the computer system to communicate. They use the mobile phone, like I'm recording on now, to communicate. But the demigods have more advanced technology and more, just as the army has more advanced technology to surveil. Those planes that go over the head here, they can literally probably see me as though they're standing right next to me. See the plane going over, another surveillance plane right in front. That plane can see me close up, even low. If I was unaware of it, I would think that was just a plane going on its destination. But it's basically a patrol plane. And the only reason I know that is because when they go over my head, when it's very late of a night, and they literally follow me, you realise that it's not natural, whereas in the past they would have been more secretive and more not very obvious. They wouldn't even patrol at a late time. But when they know that you're aware of it, and they actually want you to know, because they think that you already have become aware of the nature of, the artificial nature of humanity, or the human beings that are around you, and even the demigods on the so-called silver screen or the computer system. You can see that they're different from a real human being, shall we say, even though they are a perfect imitation of life most of the time, which is But you see, when you realise that what's around you is also a perfect imitation of life, like on the streets around you, then it's not so difficult to see that the demigods are also a perfect imitation of life, except that they are even more creative, more convincing and more seductive and more influential. That's just the difference. But once you become aware of this, first patrol car cannot resist coming right in front after all this time. Normally they would come a lot thicker and faster. This car does not belong here. This is going to park outside my place and pretend that it lives here, I guess. And they always have to do their pulling in and out in front, and I'm not going in there. Because I don't want to interact with them if I can, because I don't want to interact if I can. Oh,